President Putin spoke out about the possibility of using nuclear weapons. Russia revealed Ukraine's personnel losses. The controversial love story between President Biden's son and his sister-in-law. President Putin spoke out about the possibility of using nuclear weapons. Russian President Vladimir Putin warned the West that Moscow can use all available means to defend itself if its sovereignty or territorial integrity is threatened. On June 5, President of the Russian Federation Vladimir Putin had a rare meeting with senior editors of international news agencies in St. Petersburg. When asked what would cause a nuclear war and how close we are to that risk, Mr. Putin said that the West has repeatedly accused Russia of using nuclear weapons, but that is not the case, was a mistake, pointing out that it was the United States that used nuclear weapons against Japan during World War II. "You know, we are always accused of using some kind of nuclear sword," the Russian leader said, but to date America is the only country that used nuclear weapons in World War II. According to Mr. Putin, the Russian Federation has a nuclear doctrine. If someone's actions threaten Russia's sovereignty and territorial integrity, Moscow will consider using all measures. Mr. Putin emphasized that this matter must not be taken lightly but must be handled professionally. During the press conference, the Russian leader also said that the country's tactical nuclear weapons had a destructive power of 70 to 75 kilotons, and the atomic bombs that the U.S. dropped on two Japanese cities, Hiroshima and Nagasaki, had a destructive power of 70 to 75 kilotons. Only has a destructive power of 20 kilotons. Also at the above press conference, President of the Russian Federation Vladimir Putin criticized the West's provision of long-range weapons to Ukraine. "Sending weapons to war zones is always a bad thing," Mr. Putin said, "even more so if the countries transferring arms not only provide the weapons but also control them. This is a very serious and very dangerous step." The Russian leader was particularly critical of Germany, saying when the first German-supplied tanks appeared on Ukrainian soil, it caused a moral shock in Russia because of the legacy of World War II. 2. According to Mr. Putin, there are many missiles, supplied by Germany, attacking targets on Russian territory. This will definitely destroy Russian-German relations and create irreversible losses. In response, President Putin said Russia would first improve its air defense system to destroy Western missiles, and also hinted at the possibility of Russia providing long-range weapons to regions around the world, thereby dealing sensitive blows to countries supplying weapons to Ukraine. Russia revealed Ukraine's personnel losses. Russian President Vladimir Putin said that Ukraine's personnel losses are currently 5 times greater than Russia's, but the conflict could end in 2 to 3 months if the West stops providing weapons to Kyiv. Speaking to reporters from international media agencies on the sidelines of the St. Petersburg International Economic Forum, SPIEF, on June 5, Russian President Vladimir Putin said, "According to our estimates, the Ukrainian army lost about 50,000 people per month." Although he did not specify the number of Russian casualties, Mr. Putin said that Russia's irreparable losses were 5 times less than Ukraine's. President Putin revealed that there are currently nearly 1,400 Russian soldiers being held as prisoners of war by Ukraine, while more than 6,400 Ukrainian soldiers are being held by Russia. He said Ukraine has the capacity to mobilize about 30,000 troops per month and doesn't have many volunteers. That does not solve the problem. All the people they can mobilize are aimed at replacing losses on the battlefield, Mr. Putin commented. He also said that it was the U.S. who came up with the idea for Ukraine to decide to lower the military enlistment age to mobilize more forces. In April, Kyiv revised its regulations to allow military enlistment at age 25, down from the previous threshold of 27. Ukraine is facing a serious shortage of weapons, ammunition, and human resources after more than 2 years of fighting. Kyiv urged Western allies and partners to speed up aid to repel Moscow's advance. After Kiev's calls, the US and some allies agreed to let Ukraine use certain weapons to attack military targets inside Russian territory. Previously, the West only allowed Ukraine to use military aid within its territory. Russia warned that this move by the West shows that these countries are in fact a direct participant in the conflict. Moscow also asserted that Western weapons only escalate the conflict, while they cannot help Ukraine reverse the situation. Mr. Putin blamed the West for the current tragedy in Ukraine. He said, "Everything stems from the coup in Kiev in 2014, which Russia said was supported by the United States." President Putin also recalled that Polish, German, and French diplomats came to Kiev and signed the Minsk Agreement as a guarantor for commitments to peacefully resolve the crisis in Ukraine. However, now these countries want to resolve conflicts with weapons. The controversial love story between President Biden's son and his sister-in-law. Hunter Biden developed feelings for his widowed sister-in-law while he had not yet divorced his wife, starting a controversial love affair that was supported by Mr. Biden. Hallie Oliver grew up in Wilmington, Delaware, and has known the Biden family since childhood. Her mother, Joan, is a childhood friend of Mr. Joe Biden. Mr. Biden once joked about dating Joan in high school. "My family is Catholic. Her family is Jewish," he said in September 2015, when he was still U.S. Vice President. "I tried really hard, but got nowhere." Hallie's parents owned a local laundry. In the late 1990s, Hallie began dating Beau Biden, Joe Biden's eldest son. Mr. Biden's second son, Hunter, had just married Kathleen, and the four of them were very close to each other. Beau proposed to Hallie on Nantucket during Thanksgiving 2001. A year later, the two were married in a small Catholic church. Hunter is a lawyer and policy activist in Washington, and Beau followed his family's political path, becoming Attorney General of the state of Delaware and aiming for the governorship, even the presidential position in the future. Hallie and Kathleen are very close, sharing a love of running and facing the challenges of being brides in a famous political family. But the family's peace was shattered when Beau, who battled brain cancer for many years, passed away on May 30, 2015, leaving behind Hallie and two children, Natalie, 12, and Hunter, 10-year-old. While mourning Beau, her instincts told Kathleen that something was wrong between Hunter and Hallie, but she felt guilty about doubting her husband, while he spent time supporting his brother's family, according to the memoir If We Break Up published in 2022 by Kathleen. In her memoir, Kathleen said her children discovered their father was having an affair with her uncle-in-law when they read messages on Hunter's phone. The children told Kathleen this story in the therapy room of the psychiatrist who advised Hunter during his drug addiction treatment. The two separated in October 2015 after 23 years of marriage. Rob Buccini, who has known the Biden family since childhood, said Hallie and Hunter developed feelings from the process of supporting each other while taking care of Beau's illness. "This is not something that happened when he was sick, but the result of fighting together for 3 years. They had no intention of letting this happen," Buccini said. Kathleen filed for divorce in December 2016. In her divorce papers, she accused Hunter of threatening the family's finances by spending lavishly on drugs, alcohol and prostitutes. The two completed divorce proceedings in April 2017, but a month before that, Hunter and Hallie publicly announced their love story. This information shocked American public opinion and caused a lot of controversy, in the context that Mr. Biden had just finished his term as vice president. Controversy and speculation on social networks and the media forced Hunter to explain. "We are extremely lucky to find love and support for each other during such a difficult time," Hunter expressed, and urged Mr. Biden to voice his support for the two people's story. "Dad, I told him, it would be wrong to let people think you disapproved of this," Hunter wrote in his memoir published in 2021. "There's something wrong and the person who should tell them this can only be Dad." Mr. Biden later announced that he and his wife, Jill, supported Hunter and Hallie. "We are all lucky that Hunter and Hallie found each other and united their lives after a tragic loss." Hunter also talked about his marriage to Kathleen. He denied his ex-wife's words, saying that she was the one who discovered the messages between him and Hallie. Hunter explained that the affair began when both were in despair over the loss of their loved ones, and the divorce only made the tragedy deeper. This unspoken, unacknowledged force drove the two of us together. We both thought we could keep Bo alive by staying together, by loving each other to keep loving him exists, Hunter wrote. Hunter and Hallie then rented a house in Annapolis, Maryland's capital, and started a new life together. However, a complicated life together is not enough to keep two people together. As Hunter and Hallie seek to comfort each other, they also remind each other of the pain of Bo, whom they both loved and who has passed away. The relationship between Hunter and Hallie deteriorated in mid-2018, when Hunter had sex with London Roberts, a dancer at the strip club he visited. Roberts gave birth to a daughter with Hunter in 2018.